A meeting house in northern Utah is about to sit empty for a year. Not because it's closing, not because of damage. It's because it's one of 17 buildings the church has quietly approved for. Something it's calling the Christ-centered Meetinghouse initiative. For wards that normally worship there are being reassigned to other buildings starting in November of 2026. Construction is set to begin in January of 2027. And when members asked exactly what's being built, the answer they received was almost nothing. The stake's own brochure says it plainly. A detailed construction scope has not been provided by the church. 17 buildings approved. A full year of displacement. And no public explanation of what's actually changing inside the walls. Tonight we'll walk through what a leaked stake brochure actually says. What the church has said publicly about meeting house design in recent years, and where the documented facts stop and the speculation begins. Welcome back to the Caelustra. If this kind of careful research matters to you, hit subscribe before we start. Here's where this story starts. A brochure titled Temporary Meeting Houses, 2026 and 2027, was distributed by the Ogden North Stake to members whose building is affected by the renovation. The brochure explains that while their meeting house undergoes renovation, members will worship in a list of alternate buildings for the duration of the project. It states that 17 meeting houses across the Utah area have been approved for what it calls major renovations, tied to the Christ-centered Meeting House initiative. The stated purpose, according to the brochure, is to create a more welcoming and inviting environment, one that helps both members and visitors focus more fully on Jesus Christ. That phrase, members and visitors, is worth noticing. This isn't framed as an internal fix. It's framed as something meant to be felt by people walking in for the first time. For wards from the affected building are being moved into other meeting houses for the length of the project. The brochure puts that length at approximately 1 year. Construction is scheduled to begin in January of 2027. Building preparation starts in the fourth quarter of 2026, and wards must vacate their current building by the end of October. Members' first Sunday in a temporary building is expected to fall right around November 1st, 2026, a fairly precise near-term timeline for a project the church has said very little about publicly. Has your ward ever had to relocate for a building project, even a small one? If it's happened to you, you already know how disruptive even a short displacement can be. This one is set to last a year. So what happens to the 17 buildings during that year? That's the question the brochure itself doesn't answer. Church officials, through this brochure, describe the goal in warm, spiritual language, a more welcoming space, a sharper focus on the Savior. That's the official framing, and there's no reason to doubt it reflects genuine intent. But when it comes to specifics, the brochure says only this. A detailed construction scope has not been provided by the church. Not a vague answer, not a placeholder. It's a direct admission that the details aren't being shared yet. That kind of transparency about what isn't known is unusual on its own. Most church communications to members describe a project in at least general physical terms. New carpet, new lighting, an expanded foyer. This one describes only a feeling the finished space should produce. Critics of this kind of rollout might reasonably ask why a project this size, one displacing entire congregations for a year, would move forward before the church itself can describe what's being built. Observers who take a more sympathetic view point out that large renovation projects often begin with site evaluation before final plans exist. Architects and engineers typically need to assess a building in person before committing to a design. Both readings can be true at once. The church may simply be following ordinary construction sequencing, and members may still reasonably want more information before their congregation is displaced for a year. Why would a project reach the 4 wards displaced stage before the construction scope is finalized? To understand that, it helps to look at what the church has said about meeting house design before this brochure ever existed. This isn't the first time the church has talked about meeting houses becoming more Christ-centered. In October of 2023, the presiding bishop addressed this exact theme in a general conference leadership session, in a talk titled, How Meeting Houses Can Be More Inviting and Christ-Centered. That talk predates the 2026 brochure by roughly 3 years. Whatever is happening now, in other words, isn't coming out of nowhere. It fits inside language church leadership was already using well before these 17 buildings were approved. It's worth being direct about what we don't have here. This transcript does not include a direct quotation from that 2023 talk, only a description of its subject matter. We can confirm the talk exists and its title, but not its full content. There's also a more technical data point worth mentioning. Reporting indicates the church's Meetinghouse design standards were updated in June of 2026, specifically addressing lighting, acoustics, audiovisual technology, and seating. That update on its own doesn't tell us what the 17 buildings will look like when finished. But it does tell us the church was actively revising its design guidance around the same time this initiative was approved. Design standard updates like this typically apply broadly, across many buildings, not just the 17 named in this brochure. That raises a separate question worth holding on to. Is this technical update the quiet groundwork for a much larger rollout down the line, or a routine periodic revision that simply happened to land in the same year? Is that a coincidence of timing, or two pieces of the same broader project? The brochure doesn't say, and neither has any public church statement so far. There's a real building that may offer a partial clue, even if it isn't officially connected to this initiative. A historic chapel in Ogden was restored in 2024 and 2025, with new lighting, new pews, and a new sacrament table and pulpit installed. That restoration reportedly preserved a sloped floor, amphitheater-style seating arrangement, the kind of layout that keeps a congregation's sightline focused on the speaker and the sacrament table. No official source has linked that Ogden restoration to the 17-building initiative. It's a separate, earlier project. But it does show the kind of seating and sightline thinking the church has already put into practice in at least one building. If a Christ-centered meeting house means anything architecturally, this is the closest documented example we have of what that might look like in practice. Reasonable people can disagree about how far to extend that comparison. There's a second, very different kind of building that's been raised in connection with this story. The temple, the church, announced for Shanghai, China. It's worth being clear about how loosely this actually connects. President Russell M. Nelson announced that temple is a modest, multi-purpose meeting space. Rather than a traditional standalone temple building, a deliberate departure from what most members picture when they hear the word temple. According to the church's own explanation, the Hong Kong China temple closed for renovation in July of 2019, and members in mainland China had relied on that building to participate in temple ordinances before the closure. The Shanghai facility was designed to let those members continue participating in ordinances closer to home, without requiring the kind of large, freestanding structure a temple traditionally is. Some observers have drawn a conceptual line between that modest, multi-purpose Shanghai design and the vague language in the Meetinghouse brochure, the idea that Christ-centered renovation might mean buildings doing more with less space more efficiently. That connection has not been confirmed by any church statement. It's a pattern some see in two separate building projects, not a documented link between them, and it's worth being direct about that distinction here. The Shanghai Temple and the Utah Meetinghouses serve entirely different functions within church practice. One is a temple for sacred ordinances. The others are meeting houses for weekly worship. Any comparison between them is about design philosophy, not about function. Which of these threads do you find more convincing, the documented 2023 talk and 2026? Design standard update or the more speculative comparison to Shanghai? Well, it's worth sitting with as we go further. Two more pieces of this story come from individual viewer reports, not from any official church document, and they deserve to be treated with appropriate caution. One viewer reported that their stake had instructed members not to pass the sacrament in the foyer anymore, that members needed to be seated in the sacrament hall on time in order to participate in the ordinance. That report is not tied officially to the 17-building initiative. It comes from a separate stake through a separate email. But it echoes the same broader theme, greater emphasis on the sacrament as the physical and spiritual center of the meeting. A second viewer noted that their own meeting house had already been renovated recently, before this new, separate renovation was announced for their building. If accurate, that raises a real question about the pace and scope of these changes. Is one building undergoing renovation twice in a short span simply routine maintenance, catching up with a larger design shift? Or is it a sign the church is still refining what it wants these buildings to become? We don't have enough here to say for certain. Let's step back and ask what all of this might mean if the changes go beyond lighting and seating. Some observers have speculated, and this needs to be labeled clearly a speculation, that renovated meeting houses could eventually take on functions closer to a temple's. There is no church statement supporting that idea. It has not been proposed publicly by any general authority in connection with this initiative. It exists only as a hypothesis raised by outside observers trying to make sense of an unusually quiet announcement. Church leaders, for their part, have said nothing to suggest meetinghouses are being redesigned to perform temple ordinances. The stated purpose remains what the brochure says: a more welcoming space, more focused on Jesus Christ. Critics of over-speculation would argue that stretching a renovation brochure into a theory about temple-capable meetinghouses outpaces what the evidence actually supports. That's a fair caution, and one this channel takes seriously. At the same time, the underlying facts remain genuinely unusual. 17 buildings. A full year of displacement for 4 wards in just one of them. Public document that openly states the construction scope hasn't been shared. Members who have lived through ordinary building maintenance know it rarely requires a full year of relocation and an entirely separate temporary meeting house brochure. The scale here, whatever the eventual design turns out to be, is not small. Where does that leave us? Let's add it all up. The stake brochure confirms 17. Utah Meeting House is approved for major renovation under a program called the Christ-Centered Meeting House Initiative. The brochure gives a firm timeline: vacate by October 2026. Temporary relocation beginning in November. Construction starting January 2027, but no details about what will physically change. Separately, the church revised its meeting house design standards in June 2026, addressing lighting, acoustics, audiovisual technology, and seating. A technical update whose connection to this specific initiative has not been officially confirmed. A 2023 talk from the presiding bishop shows this Christ-centered language predates the current brochure by years, suggesting a longer institutional conversation rather than a sudden new idea. And 2 unrelated viewer reports: a FOIA sacrament policy change and a second renovation on an already renovated building, hint at a broader emphasis on the sacrament and worship space. Without confirming any single coordinated plan, is this a limited, still experimental pilot program in one region of Utah? Or an early, deliberately quiet version of something the church intends to expand much more broadly? Based on what's publicly documented right now, we genuinely don't know. What we do know is that 17 congregations are about to find out what Christ-centered means in practice, whether or not the rest of us are told alongside them. If you're a Latter-day Saint watching this, has your own ward or stake mentioned anything like this initiative, even informally? We'd like to hear whether this is spreading beyond Utah before it's officially announced anywhere else. We'll be watching for whatever the church does eventually release about the construction scope for these 17 buildings, and if you want to see what that turns out to be compared to what we've speculated about here tonight, subscribing is how you'll catch that follow-up when it comes. Let us know in the comments which theory feels more likely to you: an ordinary renovation wrapped in careful language, or the early shape of something the church hasn't fully explained yet. Thanks for spending this time with us tonight.